in-depth look at the International Fund for Agricultural Development. We will give a quick overview of the project, as well as look at some case studies and the pros and cons that go along with the project.
The International Fund for Agricultural Development is a specialized agency of the United Nations. Membership in this program is open to any state that is a member of the UN. This was established as an international financial institution in 1977, and it was one of the major outcomes of the 1974 World Food Conference. They state that the causes of food insecurity and famine were not so much failures in food production, but structural problems relating to poverty. They also believe that vulnerable groups can and do contribute to economic growth. They are the supporters of more than 200 programs and projects in 81 developing countries. Main goals and objectives are to target poor rural population in developing countries. This is to eliminate poverty along with hunger and malnutrition. They also focus on raising productivity and incomes to improve the quality of their lives. They have a flexible program approach and long-term lending to enhance its ability to assist governments in pro-poor policy towards institutional development. Listed below are some categories and groups that they target, which are agricultural development, financial services, rural infrastructure, livestock, fisheries, and small-medium-scale enterprise development.
Nurul Islam grows rice on land that may soon be underwater. Here along the southeast coast of Bangladesh, climate change-related sea level rise threatens to submerge 1 million hectares of agricultural land.
There is no dam, so the high tide floods our land and sweeps away our seedlings. We replace the seedlings, but by the time the season comes to an end, the crop doesn't grow as it should and there is lower yield.
One of the main goals of the International Fund for Agricultural Development is to lessen the global impact of poverty around the world. Currently, the poorest 40% of the world's population accounts for just 5% of global income. And according to UNICEF, 22,000 children die each day due to poverty alone, and nearly half of the world lives on less than $2.50 a day. As can be seen by the graph, even more people survive on less than $2 a day, and the International Fund for Agricultural Development is looking to lessen these numbers. Another one of the major goals of the International Fund for Agricultural Development is to eliminate hunger and malnutrition around the world. 98% of hungry people live in developing countries today, with Asia and the Pacific having the largest share of the world's hungry. Undernutrition contributes 2.6 million deaths of children under the age of 5 each year, which is nearly 1/3 of the global total. As can be seen with the graphs, there is a large chunk of the world's hungry concentrated in Asia and Africa, with some coming from the Americas. Climate change is an unfortunate inevitability in today's world, and the International Fund for Agricultural Development is working with this in mind. As can be seen on the map, there is negative change in agricultural productivity in much of the world, with it largely being concentrated in Africa and the Pacific, two regions of the world where undernutrition are the most prevalent. So in order to combat the undernutrition that is already present, changes need to be made in the programs in order to account for this negative change in agricultural productivity. And the International Fund for Agricultural Development is certainly doing this.
To avoid a bigger crisis, farmers need to adapt to climate change, says Thomas Rath from the International Fund for Agricultural Development.
People have to adapt their livelihoods, have to adapt their production patterns, have to adapt the way they generate income to the changing environment. So in terms of agriculture has to invent and develop technologies that cope with the effects of climate change.
Here's a map of all the local level operations known worldwide, which are located in 120 countries and territories.
Improving farmers' incomes while protecting them from climate change threats is the focus of an ambitious development project involving 6 branches of government and international donors like Ifad. Zanel Abedin is deputy team leader.
Many people lost their land 2 times or 3 times even. Now we provided them many protections and they are now saved at least.
So far, about 1 million coastal people have been assisted by the project, and now back on Nolar Char, Nurul and his neighbors will soon be among them.
Some challenges that Ifad faces is to increase funding. Ifad receives funding by using a mix of low-interest loans and grants to support their rural development programs and projects. They help to increase food production, incomes, and improve livelihoods by helping to sustainably manage their natural resources. From 1978 to 2006, Ifad invested $9.5 billion in 732 programs and projects that have helped more than 300 million poor rural men and women. Partners have additionally contributed a $16.1 billion in co-financing, and they continue to work hard to gain more financing and grants to continue their work. Another challenge is to find partners. Ifad is selective with their partner countries because it is a partnership with the country's government to design projects for quality, impact, and sustainability.
The most positive aspect about the program is its structure. Since the causes of food insecurity and famine are not so much failures in food production, but structural problems relating to poverty, IFAD focuses to facilitate rural poverty reduction by increasing income as well as living conditions, which can boost productivity. The programs are structured in a way to help the poor overcome poverty themselves. The con of the program would be that it is especially vulnerable to fluctuations in food prices, and it is difficult and costly to react to those changes in price.
It's hard to predict what impact climate change will have here over the coming decades, but for the immediate future at least, efforts like this are buying farmers more time.